Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Write or Die Show. I'm your host, Randi-lee. On the show, we interview other writers and we talk about mental health from their personal journeys. If you have not already hit that like and subscribe button, go ahead, do that now so that you never miss an episode. Hello, welcome to the show. Today with us, we have two amazing guests. We have Rox Burkey and Charles Breakfield. Hello, how are you?
Hi, Randy. How are you doing?
Terrific, Randy. How about you?
I'm pretty good. Now, tell us what your author name is together.
Well, it leads with my name. It's Breakfield and Burkey, and that's the way we've done it for 12, 15, 16, 20 books, something like that.
It's only a couple. It's fine. A couple. All right. So, whomever wants to go first, tell us a little bit about who you are.
So I actually work in technology and I focus on customer experience. And I have for quite some time been in that particular professional arena. So that's like that's what helps me want to get away and write, because you can only do so much on the technology front before it's like, oh my gosh, give me some fictional fun here.
True. Okay. Yeah. And what about
Well,
you?
so I'm a little different. I'm usually standing there by the conveyor belt of technical problems, heading downstream to anybody who will address them, and it's good information and background fodder for the stories. So we get to I get to see some of the leading edge stuff that hasn't quite hit mainstream yet, and here's what's going to poison this environment if it's handled, if it's mishandled. And so that's sort of the peculiarities, I guess I will agree to admit to for my writing style, and Rox has been able to put up with it with therapy and treatment. So it's
And how did you guys meet?
Oh, that's a really interesting question. Actually, I hired him to work as what turned out to be my boss as an assistant manager for the organization I was working at the time. So I helped hire him, and so we started as coworkers in the same environment, and then went to other companies, returned to the same company, that kind of stuff, and wrote technical manuals in one of our routines for the companies that we worked for. And so it's like, hey, we're having fun doing a little bit of writing. So that's kind of how we actually met. We wrote some non-fictional stuff that was quite honestly, let's see, in a word, out of date right after you did it. Technology is just changing way too fast. So It's hard to keep up with non-fictional from that perspective. And writing technical manuals is probably about as much fun as watching paint dry.
What are you talking about? I do that all the time. It's great fun.
Okay.
I got through that whole sentence with a straight face.
You sure did. I'm proud of you.
I guess I try hard. Okay. Now, that's what you guys do, but like, who are you?
oh, that's a good question. We're
The hardest one.
It's the hardest one because there's multifacets to us. I mean, we're in the high tech world. We're working on customer problems. We've got stuff coming at us from all sides, and then by 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I get my favorite adult beverage, and we either get on a call or hang out at her house with the hound dogs pestering us, and
How
we
many
create.
doggies?
We've got two, one of each, one male, one female, both Dobermans and both rescue animals.
I love hearing about the animals. Any other animals we need to hear about?
Um, there's my daughter's animals. There's the cats that I feed outside that I get made fun of because I felt sorry for them a couple of years ago and during the ice storm. You know, silly things like that. Yeah,
Not silly.
I'm a mush on when it comes to taking care of the animals.
Good. See, that's who you are. That's the who.
Okay, all right.
No, and that's a fair question. From my perspective, I do like to help others. I like to reach out and help with time and effort to people that just need something. So I've kind of been that way for quite some time.
Okay, nice. See, that's the who. All right. So again, I'm not sure how your stories are going to intertwine here, but you're gonna lead the way and talk about mental health. So whomever story wants to start us off, let's go.
Mental health. Okay, I would submit that we use the writing as a therapy in a lot of cases. Um, it's a chance to be able to be expressive. Cover several topics that we see that are germane, like ransomware, identity theft, things that if you get hit with them, what's the first thing that the first casualty of you? That is your mental state, the things that you're stuck. Like, how do I get out of this? How do I navigate this? And we'd like to believe that some of the combat between in the digital space in our books is a way to be able to say, here's how you could defeat some of these attack vectors and perhaps put your life back together. And it's good to know that there's a team, a high moral ground team who's out there hustling hard, driving to be able to make sure that the cyber bad guys are put back into the box and in best case exported for jail, wrapped in heavy chains on some island someplace.
Okay, okay. And I see a good smile up there. So what do you have to add to that?
I think from my perspective, it goes back to who I am. And that is, I do like to warn people about different things. So the focus of the books on a cyber threat is really to kind of help open people's eyes that they just cannot necessarily be so trusting, which is kind of counter to what people seem to be doing. Oh, it's technology. It must be wonderful. Oh, it's a digital device. It must be, by me 24/7, 365. It's just got to be there. So I do tend to think things should be done in moderation to a degree and tempered with your own logic or your own thought. And so, that's kind of where my mental health comes from. I get very aggravated when people are just very accepting. I really do.
Mm-hmm. Have either of you been in a position where, and not necessarily cyber side, but just, you trust, like I've had friendships where you trust the person so much and then doesn't really turn out so well.
Yeah, they walk on you. Oh yeah, I've had that.
So
we would say that you got torpedoed. Okay, I mean that's that torpedoed in the relationship, and it was like, how unfair was that? I didn't see that coming, and that's those are bitter pills to swallow.
Yes, yeah. So let's talk about that a little bit more, just because we haven't had that conversation on the show. I mean, we've had 150 something episodes. Yeah, but we haven't really talking about like we've talked about narcissism, but it's very different than that trusting side of things. So can you share an experience where you've, like I kind of said, you trusted this person with maybe some secrets, maybe just your trust in a friendship way or whatever capacity. But it didn't turn out the way that you had hoped, and not just like, oh, hey, it's not turning out the way I hope, but like the trust was truly broken on such a level that your mental health was affected. And then, of course, the follow-up would be, how did you deal with it?
I got a story. I'll lead, and Roxanne, you can chime in after this one. In my youth, we had put together a wholesale distribution of comic books. We were distributing Marvel, DC, and some of the secondary independent as well. I had an organization out of Wisconsin call me, almost in tears, saying, they won't ship us any books. They won't do anything. They won't let me buy anything from. This will put me out of business. I'll be ruined. I've got people who depend on me. Please help me. Sell me stuff.
Okay.
Okay. All right. It took us about 90 days to run up an $80,000 bill that they just walked away from. Wouldn't call back. Wouldn't the attorneys that I sicked on them? They said, "There's nothing there, Charles. If you want to go ahead and pay me to go find these people, they don't have any assets. There's nothing to be able to collect. So you're basically stuck with that bill to pay the manufacturer." And I didn't have that $80,000. What I did have was a store downtown, one of three, and I had to sell that store off to be able to pay that bill, and it was crushing to be able to see, well, they had called asking for help, a favor. They had pushed that one button that I don't let anybody push any longer. And so, yeah, I have that, I guess there's a small cynicism that I have to put up with for that kind of an approach to me. And there's an ugly scar that I typically don't talk very much about, but that's one of those things where you want to know what happened. That's what happened. I was trusting and I was slaughtered.
Yeah, and to lose your entire store over it. So I'm assuming that you are at a pretty enraged and upset and sad, perhaps, state.
No,
all the emotions.
Well, not really. I mean, it's like, okay, get over it. Let's get this done. Let's make good on my promise to the manufacturers, the printers. I paid those debts so that they didn't have that horrible image of me. So it was a point of honor. And so it's sort of a double-edged sword. If you can get past and digest that and become and still be, I'm not going to use it as an excuse. I got slaughtered, but I did make good on the debt. We did pay everything off, and we just did make that mistake again.
Okay. And how do you stop from making that mistake again?
You lead with no. You always lead with no.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know how well that works with my daughters, Rocks. I mean, they go, Dad.
Right.
So,
I know.
Yeah. So it's there's latitudes where you're like, okay, is this a loan or is this a gift? Well, lead with that.
Yes, that's a good point. So I always, I've never loaned somebody $80,000 or $80,000 for product, but I don't have that. But growing up, because, people would be like, "Can I borrow your DVD?" And DVDs were these discs that you would put into the machine to play the movie. So they'd be like, "Can I borrow your movie?" Or even, back when VHSs were a thing, "Can I borrow your VHS?" And VHSs were the thing that you put into the VCR to play the movie. So people would say, "Hey, can I borrow it?" And, I'm like, "Okay, sure." And then they wouldn't give it back. I mean, it's not the same scale, but in my young mind, because I was a kid, it was like, "Hey, that was mine and you stole it." So then I started developing the mindset of kind of that, is it a gift or is it a loan? Of, if you are asking me to borrow this, I need to be okay if I never see it again.
Yep.
Right.
It goes back to when I was a kid, and you really do bring up some really good points, Randy. It goes back to when I was a kid, and you wanted to borrow somebody's sweater, or you wanted to borrow somebody's skirt or something like that. And my mom always said, "Hey, you don't borrow clothes from people. It's just, if something happens to it, you're in trouble."
Right.
But if you do have to borrow something for whatever reason, you always turn it back to them in better condition. So, washed and pressed, cleaned, whatever the situation might be. And so I limit at that time, I limited anything I borrowed because it was kind of like, don't do it. But then as I got older, somebody wanted to borrow something from me. Well, my expectation at that point was that I'm going to get it back in as good a condition as I gave it.
Yep.
Yeah. No, not full of tears and rips like I received. So then you kind of lead with the no, or as you said, you know, am I willing to just give it away? And then it's more like, nope, you can't borrow it, but here, you may have it. Yeah. And then just let it go.
Yeah. And if they do end up returning it, you know, bonus, right? Yeah. If they're like, oh, hey, here you go. But it doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes you get it back, and like you said, it's ripped and it's torn. And it's not, I mean, this topic isn't quite the same as what we normally talk about on the show, but I think it's important because it's something that we experience from a very young age. Like I was talking about VHSs, that's back in the early 90s. I was like 5, 6, 7, right? Like little. And we develop that mindset at that age because we're trusting our friends. Hey, can I borrow your toy? Like as simple as, can I borrow a toy? And then they end up breaking the arm off the Barbie. And it's like, but you broke my toy. And that in a child's mind, we can go, you know, a couple different ways. We can develop that mindset of, no, I am never, ever, nope, you can't ever, right? Borrow my stuff again. Or it's that mindset of, can I just let it go? Can I figure out a way that I can forgive this person? We're developing a lot of skills at a young age, and it starts with those kinds of instances.
Yeah. Or you can be rightfully angry, like Charles is, for losing all of that money. And you know, every once in a while, everybody gets a chance to make an El Grande boo-boo. And sometimes you can easily recover from it. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you have to get past it. But it still remains as an angry point.
Yeah. And I think that's a very valid point, is that we can be angry. We can be upset. Like Charles had every right, if he wanted to be angry. But the not holding on to the anger, like he said, I paid the debt, I made sure everything was good, is also an important skill that we have to learn. Is that, and I've been trying to tell my kid this for a long time, that forgiveness piece is not for the other person. It is for yourself, because all you're doing by staying angry at that person, they don't care. They probably haven't even thought about you again, especially the way that they stiffed you, Charles. They didn't think about you. They probably had this in mind right from the start. And you being angry and holding on to that anger, not that you did, which is good, but if you had, what's that doing? All it's doing is affecting you. They don't care. They've moved on to their next mark.
Exactly. And it's funny because, different groups of people tend to be more trusting, which is going to go back to, kind of the cyber threats. You have a lot of people in the older generation now that are very trusting, and they get an email from somebody and, it just feels like they have to reach out and help them. And unfortunately, they are often looking for marks, and it only takes one.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, a girl that I work with at my part-time job, she walked in on her grandfather giving his credit card number because he thought that, because this person was saying, oh, I'm the friend of your grandson, or whatever the story was, right? And they need this money for blah, blah, blah. And the, grandfather, oh, I got to help my grandkid. Luckily, like I said, my coworker walked in. She was able to be like, nope, okay, we're calling the credit card company. Let's get rid of all that. And so nothing bad happened in that way because it was able to be caught right away. But it is that trusting nature, or the fact that, I'll admit, I don't read all the terms and conditions. You download an app, except because I just want the app. And then it turns out that they're stealing whatever, doing whatever.
It's a poisonous app, yeah. It's a poisonous app, yeah. Like, oh, thank you for installing me on your personal device, and I appreciate you trusting me. By the way, I'm emptying your bank account, and it's going to this this laundering market on the dark net, and you've made made a week's pay for somebody whose job is stealing.
Yeah, exactly. So we have to be careful, but we also have to develop a level of trust with people, because we can't just not trust anyone forever, right? Then how do you develop good, healthy relationships? How do you get a partner in writing crime?
Well, exactly. And I think that unfortunately the lockdown cultivated a lot of that not building relationship abilities, and the result seems to be a lot of anger.
Yes, that's very true too. And all of these COVID babies. My grandson is a COVID baby. He was born about 6 months before COVID hit. And here where I am, COVID locked us down for like almost 2 years.
Yeah.
It's a long time, right? So like then all of a sudden we're putting him in swim lessons and he loves water, always has. He's crying though because he doesn't understand people.
Yeah.
Because he's a COVID baby. They didn't get to meet people.
Yep.
Interesting perspective. Having lost that social dynamic, it's a little bit different for me because I was an Air Force brat. So we picked up and moved every 2 years, whether we needed to or not, different base, and everybody else was the same way. So you made friends, realizing that they'd be gone in 2 years, or maybe their parents were cycling out, and you only get to meet with them for 6 months or whatever. So that's part of that. Reach out for those people and be expressive, talk to people, understand, because they may be packing up and moving before you know it. And you'll have friends scattered all over the planet, like I do. But but I've always had that social dynamic that a lot of people never would have had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a very interesting thing. I've never really thought about that before because that wasn't my experience. But like when you go in knowing I'm gonna have this best friend for this much time, that's gotta be hard for a kid. I mean, you must develop the, knowing it's gonna happen, but still, it'd be hard.
Well, and it teaches you to embrace those friends for the time that you have, and so you learn that life is not permanent. Lesson that that's difficult to be able to explain until you've actually lived it yourself.
Well, that's such a good point too, right? Because there's that saying, right? How does it go? That somebody's there for a season. Wait, there's a reason they're only there for a season, something like that. But basically, you have this friend, but maybe you're only meant to have this friend for a shorter period of time in your life and value that time together, and it's wonderful time together. But once you move on, it's okay, and it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's not necessarily forgotten either. It may be that you have new ways to communicate, like in writing letters. I remember my friend was moved away because her mother got mad at her for kissing a boy and moved her to like 3 states away.
Oh, geez.
Thinking that would solve the problem, so.
Well, in a lot of our writing, to be honest, we created friends all over North America. We got some friends in the Philippines. I got friends in France and Germany. And some of that is because of the writing that we do, because it's a communication skill.
Yes.
Here, and that sort of a letter directly to you. This is a letter to thousands of our closest friends who have a chance to be able to watch and read and listen to the stories, because that's how we communicate with our fan base.
Right? Yeah. And I think, okay, just because I made this big stink about what DVDs are and what VHS are, I have to do this. So a letter is this thing on a piece of paper that you write and you fold up, you put it in an envelope with a stamp, and you mail it. Somebody will deliver it, and it takes time to get there. I'm sorry, I just had to, because my kids are always being like, what's that? What's that? So sorry, I had to do it when you said write a letter.
No, it was good. It was good. And you do realize that the next language barrier to be broken by young people is cursive writing.
Oh, they already don't teach it in our schools here.
I know. So, we have a whole secret language they can't
I know,
follow.
right? It used to be like when I was little, my mom and aunt would speak Piglet, and I was like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. Now I've got cursive.
That's it.
I never thought of it that way. Now it's secret. Oh, kind of neat. It's way better than thinking, oh, they just don't teach it. No.
That's it.
That's
like it.
That.
You can communicate with other adults that know that skill, and no one will know what's going on.
I like that, actually. I feel like kind of like a ninja or like a secret agent.
And you add Piglet on top of that, you're going to make them all crazy because they're never going to figure it out.
Right? I know. I remember getting so mad at my mom and my aunt when they would do that. I'm like, what are you saying? And like my brother had figured it out. My brother was 4 years older than me. And I was like, what are they saying? He's like, I'm not telling you. Not cool, man. Not cool. So let's talk a little bit about, well, I was going to say your book, but books. When did you publish the first one?
What was it? Rocks was about 2012 when we.
2012 was the first novel in the series.
Yeah.
Holy crap! So over 20 years then. We're in 2023.
No, not 20 years. Let's try.
No, I'm mathing really wrong right now, but don't call me out, please. Over 10 years.
No, just over a decade. Yeah.
Yeah, over a decade.
Yeah.
I'm mathing really wrong here. Don't call me out.
No. It's a simple error. We could all make it. No problem.
Right. I'm gonna blame the cat because I was distracted.
I love the cat. What is the cat's name? I have got to know.
This is Smokey.
Nice.
She is a big fluffy baby. I have 4 cats. I kicked the other ones out, but she just was laying so calmly and quietly in front of the open window that I couldn't make her move. And now she's just, disturbing my things. But
now she wants to make sure she's a part of the show.
I know. She's so sweet. I love her. She's so cute. Yeah. So you've been writing together for over a decade.
Yep.
And so how many books was it that you've written?
So novel-wise, there is 12 novels in the Enigma series, which is what is up behind Charles.
Nice.
And there's also a prequel that's not there, and 10 short stories. And we just released the first book in a brand new series.
Okay. So is the Enigma one finished, or you just want to start something new too?
So the Enigma series, we timed it. It's done.
Okay.
Yeah.
No book 13. I refuse a book 13.
But
okay.
The new series is the Enigma Heirs. So as you would understand, even in fiction, characters grow, they age, they reach retirement status, and they say, I need to move on. I'm going to power down, and I want to turn over the reins of the cyber warfare organization to the children that we've taught.
Okay.
The kids that have grown up realizing that here's the high moral ground for the combat that our good guys do, and we started them into the new series, and this is it's kind of interesting because what happens with anybody that takes over, imagine your kids try and take over your podcast and all the things that you know how to do. I taught them. I thought I taught them. I showed them. Are they going to be able to do it? And that's kind of the exercise with the characters in the new series. They're the heirs from the third generation.
Okay, so it's kind of a continuation in a sense, but it's new.
Yeah, the cyber threats are always brand new. They're always out there. They're always hammering you. They're always ahead of you because the cyber threats are always one step ahead of the good guys. But there needs to be new champions coming in, new champions taking over, and so that's the beginning of the heirs when the Enigma Tracer.
Okay, I like it. And so is that one out already or coming out?
No,
Nope, it's out. It released in March, and the audio book just came out for it like 2 weeks ago. So, if somebody seriously wants to listen to an audio book, they can certainly send us an email, and we might have a few codes we can share.
I love audiobooks. In fact, I need a new one. I just finished mine.
So, our email. So you can have a US code or a UK code. Which one would you like?
A USA code, because I can connect it.
There you go.
Perfect.
Happy to send one over. The only request for giving codes is to please do a
review. Oh yes, I do. All right. So where do people get a copy of these books? Obviously through Audible for the audio.
Well, so it's interesting. The audio books are available through Audible.
Okay.
That's true, but they're also available in other, Libra FM. Most of them are not only on Audible. They're no longer exclusive. There's only 3 right now of the books exclusive on Audible. But the books themselves, if you want, let's say it's Father's Day coming up and you desperately want to have a signed book to give to your dad, they can send a request through our website and we'll sign it and ship it free anywhere in the U.S.
Very nice. And the website is?
You're going to love it. It's easy. enigmaseries.com.
Oh, that is easy. I like that. I like easy. And of course, I'm going to stick the link in the description below. So where else can they buy it? Or is that like the best place to do it?
That's obviously the best place to buy it because we do sign them and ship them, but you can get them on Amazon, Barnes and Noble.
For the rest of the world where, it might be easier shipping wise, from Amazon.
Right. And some people just don't like Amazon. So it's available in the other marketplaces as well, because we understand that. Some people want to have choice.
Choice is good. Yes. That's why we have a variety of episodes, because you have choices.
Exactly. And you do it well. You want to innovate new things into your podcast, which I think is very, very wise of you, actually.
Thank you. And of course, where do we follow you, social media styles?
Oh, you can follow us on Twitter, Enigma Series, Facebook, LinkedIn. Of course, we are both on LinkedIn as Charles Breakfield or Rox Burkey. But we're separate. We don't have the books. Pinterest. I mean, YouTube would be a wonderful.
Oh, you guys have a channel?
We do have a channel. And
if
people will go to our website, then they can watch the book trailers, which are a lot of fun. I also build audio samples. So we have a wonderful voice of the series. His name is Derek Scholes. And he does all but the very first book. He's done all of the narration for our books. And so I do little segments and samples and post those on YouTube. And we have a channel called the Enigma Series. I know, it's such a surprise.
Right? I was shocked to hear it. In fact, I was like, okay, what is this new title going to be?
That's right.
Oh, that's awesome. So yeah, everybody go and subscribe. Everybody needs subscribers and followers, and we've got to support everybody. So do that. Any last words before we say goodbye?
One last thing I might point out is that we got invited in to participate in the Underground Authors group, and the project that we're in on is this city in Texas called Magnolia Bluff, and their biggest industry is the cemetery, because there's always somebody being whacked in this city, and so between the 10 or 12 authors, we each take a different tract, if you will, our own particular genre. In that, it would be cozy mysteries, and we borrow characters from each other. We use the same visions and maps for the city, and it's like a variety of writers delivering a new story thread. They're all independent, but the characters tend to spill into the other areas. And other books. We've had some of our characters borrowed, and we borrowed characters from other areas. But it's a fun drill. It's a fun exercise because it's that's our property, but it's part of the series. You've seen series where they have you know. Different people. It's in a different written by one set of writers, but this is a variety of writers, so you get some terrific stories from people that you might not have heard otherwise. So it's called the Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles series, and we're in year number 2, season 2.
Okay.
Yeah, and we've got on the 15th book that we've already got ready to go, ready for release. Pre-publication price 99 cents on Amazon in August. That's when it's going to go live. It's called The Killer Enigma.
Oh, I like that. Okay, I like that. I love horror, mystery, thriller.
Then you ought to just love all of these, you know?
It sounds like it. Yeah. It sounds like my jam. And Rox, do you have anything else to add?
No, we really like to talk to people. On our website, you're going to find a calendar where we're going to be, because we've got some, book signing events coming up and those sorts of things. So we'd love to see anybody who's in those areas when we come. So we have an event coming up in Greenville, Texas. I've got an event in the Denver area in August, and we have another one in Waller, Texas. So we're going to be around, and we would love to, see people and talk to them, and just keep in touch. And we have free downloads off of our website too. So poke around out there. There's some tips and tricks out there, and we like readers, and we like their opinions. It's just fun.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. And good luck with all of this new series coming. Do you know how many books is going to be in this one?
In the Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles?
Oh, sorry. No, in your new Enigma, is going to be 12 again?
Enigma Heirs is book 2 is being worked on. It'll be out next March.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. All right. So thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you. What a delight. Appreciate your time.
As always, thank you so much for the amazing guests that we have on the show. Be sure to check out their links down in the description below. If you want to support the channel, go ahead and check out our merch store. We've got some very cool things on there. That's my favorite. Sorry, I'm busy ending the stigma. But there's some other very cool designs. 10% of the proceeds always goes back to the Canadian Mental Health Association. Be sure to follow us on Facebook at RB Media, because we have some great new shows coming up, and you never want to miss any of those episodes. And remember, the only way to end the stigma of mental health is to speak openly and honestly. Bye.